My good story. Thank you.
Another year at Florida Atlantic. High success last year, and then this year. I know it wasn't what you guys set out to do. What's kind of the feeling after year two in Boca?
It's one of those years you unfortunately, have once in a while where everything just goes wrong. We lost half our staff in the off season, including all three coordinators, special teams, offense, defense, and then so had to replace that. And then our best player on defense gets a freak ACL and kind of the leader of our team. And, we played a freshman quarterback that threw a lot of interceptions. And we were actually ahead of, after the Oklahoma game, our 11 games, we were ahead of every single one of them, which is kind of unheard of,
Wow.
And really struggled on defense. Just kind of everything went the wrong way.
Coach, you made some news in the offseason by replacing one of your coordinators with a 25-year-old Charlie Weiss Jr., who is considered to be way, way ahead of his time as far as football is concerned. How did that go in year one?
It went good. Again, we lost a great, Kendall Browse,
Sure.
coordinator that done it for a while and just went and tore it up at Houston. And Charlie did a really good job with a freshman quarterback. I think we were 14th in the country in yardage on offense. This was a turnover on offense issue, and then really poor defense. 100 and some in most categories. So that's not a very good recipe for success.
Coach, after watching the quarterback situation around college football this year, at one point it looked like Tua was running away with that Heisman Trophy. It almost felt like Leonard Fournette in 2015 at the midway mark, where it was going to be nobody else but him to win the Heisman. When you watched him play this year, you are who recruited him to Tuscaloosa. Did you have an idea that he could have been this good at this level?
We did. I went out there when he was a junior and saw him out in Hawaii, and just, I kind of came back to say he's like a jugs machine. Just unbelievable accuracy, which you could see, this year, and the touchdown interception ratio. He just played unbelievable. Obviously until that last game.
And in that last game, one of your former guys, Jalen Hurts, comes in, and it's like it's so crazy to think about it just from a story perspective, right? The same building against the same team, a championship on the line, except this time instead of Tua coming in, it's Hurts coming in and getting it done. What was your reaction? I know that you're very close with Jalen.
Well, those switches, obviously the year before they made the switch. This one, the injury made them make it. Those won the game. I mean, they're not going to win that game if Jalen doesn't come in, because Georgia's defense is playing so good and Tua couldn't move. And so, someone said, well, what do you think as soon as he went in? I said, he's going to win the game with his legs. You always got to this is overlooked. The one player that's not tired late in the game compared to everyone else is the quarterback, especially if the quarterback ain't been playing the whole day. So now here's a guy who can run really well with fresh legs, and this defense, has played whatever 60, 70 snaps. And what's going to happen is he's going to keep plays alive, and he sure did. I mean, they were stopped. Georgia did a great job schematically on some things and had him, sacked a number of times, and he made plays with his feet that either running for the touchdown or running to keep a play alive, and make big third down plays, which he did, a couple times.
Yeah, I was having flashbacks of third downs against LSU where it seemed like he was always just ripping Tiger fans' hearts out. You mentioned good schematics from Georgia. Kirby Smart doing a good job against Nick Saban. How badly does Nick Saban want to beat his former assistants when he's going head-to-head with him?
Well, I'm sure that one especially, because whatever, Kirby was with him for 10 years and, kind of his coaching son, raised him in the profession. So, and it's a big rivalry anyway, so I'm sure that was a big deal. But Kirby's done a great job, in both those games. I mean, look at the third downs, in both games.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I think until the fourth quarter or something, I saw something like under 20%, just ridiculous for the two games against, great offense that hardly anybody's been able to stop. So really kind of has had their number, until the end of the game where, at the end of the day, one player, the quarterback in both games made some unbelievable plays, to send Kirby home, because otherwise, Kirby has done an unbelievable schematic job and better than anybody's done all year, against that offense.
We're talking to FAU head coach Lane Kiffin here on Off the Bench, 104.5, 100.3, 94.7 ESPN. What does LSU need to do to not get beat 29-0 in the future, do you think? So just a little hot tip.
Score.
Okay. Okay.
Overtime.
It seems pretty simple.
No, LSU's offense, you just got to go to overtime. Then they're unstoppable. Great in overtime.
Hey,
I think
72 points. Have you ever scored 72 points?
I don't think so. We scored 69 last year versus North Texas, but not 72. But we did score 69 in regulation.
Okay,
so
okay.
That counts for
something.
Well,
that's an asterisk.
But
Doesn't
I
matter.
thought that, I thought it was a little overlooked because of, obviously whatever 29-0. But LSU's defense, outside of probably Georgia, did the best job all year, especially having to not getting points on the other side is always tough because you're going right back out there all the time, with lack of able to hold the ball. So again, Dave as you guys have seen time and time again, did a great job in big games.
Lane Kiffin joining us here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. What do you make of the news up at Ohio State? It was great to see the way that your relationship with Urban Meyer kind of budded when you got into the SEC and would stay in the crawl of Florida. And now that he's stepping down at Ohio State, what do you make of that story?
It's funny you say that. I was in Pahokee yesterday recruiting, and the coach was telling a story how I got to Tennessee. That was the first time I ran into Urban Meyer. We're at the same high school there, so he was laughing about the story. Yeah. Urban and I get along a lot better now than back then. But I think you saw that coming. At least I thought it was pretty obvious. The few games I caught during the year, you could just see he just didn't look physically right, holding his head. And so you could tell something was going on there. And I think he kind of, at least I did, this did not surprise me.
Pretty insane. So even with the resume, right? Because, winning the conference last year, winning the conference this year, 7-0 Michigan, 90% winning percentage at Ohio State, still not enough to keep him around, I guess.
I don't think it had anything to do with that. Obviously they had a really good year, or else, if they didn't, then people would say, well, maybe it's because, they were losing. It had nothing. This looked to me 100% to be a health issue, so regardless of their record, this was going to, he just, and you could tell he said something where he didn't say it wasn't going to happen. So to not say it's not going to happen, knowing that the impact on recruiting a couple weeks ago, to say that led me to believe this was going to happen, or else you obviously say, no, I'm coming back for sure.
You mentioned Kirby and the way that he battled Nick there in the SEC championship. Did you think that the College Football Playoff Committee got it right with the Final Four? Did Georgia deserve another shot?
That's hard. Everybody's kind of got their angle why they should be in. I do think Georgia's one of the top four. I do think Oklahoma is too. And I understand if people are undefeated, they're undefeated. But if you're going to look at someone that is going to beat Alabama, it's not going to be Notre Dame. That style that's nothing against them. It's just been proven.
Right.
That you better have an off the charts, explosive offense, or just a that and a defense, that can really match up and play, and just like Georgia did. Georgia had the recipe, had them, basically had them beat, and then Jalen came in just like the year before. They had him beat, and got about every bad luck you can. There was a penalty on the touchdown play that he threw that the refs missed, and he's not throwing to Calvin on the one touchdown. He's actually throwing to the running back. So 2 years ago, just everything went right down the stretch for him. But Georgia gives you a shot to beat them, and Oklahoma, and Clemson, can score with them, so they may have a shot to beat them. I can't imagine Notre Dame being able to play with Alabama.
I know you have the 10-year down there in Boca, but it seems like the NFL game and the college game are as close to similar as they've been in a long time, especially from the offensive standpoint. A lot of people pointing towards Sean McVay out in L.A. and what Andy Reid's doing with Pat Mahomes and those types of offense, the way they're evolving, even down here in New Orleans with Sean Payton. Do you see that in the similarities in what you guys are calling on Saturdays and to what you're seeing on Sundays?
I do, and that's the first time. I've said over the last few years, it's just not a different league. It might as well be a different sport. The NFL and college, because of the offenses, are just so drastically different, and they're officiated different and run different plays. And so, for probably the first time ever, it used to always be, as college coaches, we went to the NFL to get ideas, and this is probably the first time ever it's gone, the last year or two has gone backwards, where NFL teams are coming to us, to get ideas. So this is the last off season. So, it's gone backwards from how it used to be.
Talking to Coach Lane Kiffin here on 104.5 ESPN Off the Bench. Coach, what do LSU fans, you played UCF, LSU getting ready to take on UCF in the Fiesta Bowl. What do LSU fans need to know about UCF?
Really some dynamic offensive players, very explosive, off the charts tempo, probably faster tempo, just thinking about LSU schedule, than anybody they played.
Yeah.
They go extremely fast, very much Oklahoma, Baylor-ish system. And obviously the quarterback being out, you would think would be a huge difference because he made that thing go. But the other guy obviously played really well last week. I think it was 6 touchdowns or something. So, that side they'll have their hands full. They have struggled in the back end, especially tackling. You can see that in the first half of the game last week. So, someone asked, okay, could UCF play with Alabama? I said, well, they could on one side of the ball, but the defense is very different, and obviously that's no secret statistically. Look at the difference.
Coach Orgeron always talks about your friendship, you guys' friendship, and the conversations within the season. Anything without giving too much information and keeping it personal between you guys? Any temperature you gauge from him during your weekly conversations with Coach O and what he was battling week in, week out with this LSU schedule and team?
Yeah, he did a great job this year, and the guys played really hard. And obviously got the bad penalty call on the linebacker, for the Alabama first half. But I know he was really down after that game, because really felt like they were going to have a shot to beat him there in Tiger Stadium, and the place was electric that whole day, and so he was down, but they came back and recovered and really got some horrible breaks, as you guys know better than me, in that 7 overtime game. That game should have been over long before. So I'm sure that one was a little bit tough, but he's always, you guys know, he always takes about a day and then he's positive and gets moving towards the next thing.
How's recruiting for you? How's the message on the trail in year 2?
Good. We were actually down in your area the first week, and
nice.
And now I'm in Miami today. I was in yesterday, as I mentioned, so we're all over the place.
Safe travels, Coach. Thanks as always for the time.
All right, guys, have a great week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you too, man. Take it easy.
Lane Kiffin joining us here for a couple of minutes on Off the Bench.